Hi, I'm Nicole
and Rebecca
from conquerbooks.com.
And today we're reading The Vanished Birds, a story about a captain, a mysterious boy, and their travels through space.
A debut novel by Simon Jimenez.
Hey!
Oh, hey!
I'm
look
back
at
from my
you.
big project.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How have you been?
Good. I mean, it's just been a month.
No, it's been 5 months.
5 months.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you may not know this because I was the one who went into space and did my big book delivery to this very important secret location that you shouldn't know about. But, time is relative. So what was pretty quick for me was actually a really long time for you. So what's new?
Well, since you're back, the 90s are back in style.
Again?
Yeah. Choose your own adventures are a thing.
Oh, cool.
Again, yep, I bought a bunch of them. It's pretty fun. George R.R. Martin finally released his... Yeah.
No!
Yep.
Ah! Yes!
Yes.
This is great.
Yeah. What's new with you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, besides my big space adventure, very important.
Yeah, besides that.
My hair is a little bit longer.
Oh yeah.
And I noticed that you have maybe a little bit more gray in your hair too.
Yeah,
so
I noticed that too.
Yeah, things are a little different.
Yeah, you don't gray in space.
No, especially when you're going so fast. Light speed.
Yeah, well, guess what else is new?
What?
I've officially read more books than you.
No!
So The Vanished Birds follows the main character, Nia Imani, who is a spaceship captain, as she roves about space, going in and out through time. And she is a lonely woman because she's never in one place long enough to make friendships, and when she is, she comes back and those people are aged 20, 30 years or what have you. And the story is about a boy who falls from the sky, and the woman, the captain, and the small boy develop a family relationship among other people on their crew. And that's what the inside flap says here. That's about it. But the book is about so much more than that.
Yeah, the synopsis that we read, I think it was interesting enough that we wanted to read it. And, I mean, it's a gorgeous cover. I think that drew us in, too.
Yeah.
But I was a little bit worried that it's a debut novel. The synopsis was pretty vague. This mysterious boy, they're adrift in space, there's a past that's going to catch up. I mean, that's a lot of science fiction novels. And so I was worried it wasn't going to differentiate itself, but it did. And I think that I realized that right away because there was this really interesting character, Kita. And Kita lives on this planet that is an agricultural planet. His people are farming, and Nia comes to pick up the deliveries and bring it back into this great space station. And every time she comes, about, I think it was 15 years passed. And so Kita grows up over his lifetime, and really within the span of, the first section of the book, you get a lot of his life. And she has this relationship with him, and it really shows how personal and how hard it is for Nia to take as she travels back and he's aging and she stays the same because it's just a few months for her. And you get that bitterness about seeing somebody's life go by so quickly when somebody else is still young and still able to do what they want. But Kita is the one who finds this boy who has fallen from the sky, and Nia is out of character in saying that she'll help him because she doesn't seem very generous. She doesn't seem to want to take on other people because of how hurt she gets when they age and they pass away. And, she is still just doing this job and she's really focused on her work. But she does. She says that she'll take him and they build this strong bond.
Yeah, you don't get that in the first chapter when you're following Kada. I call them Kada in my mind. She seems almost cold when you're following Kada's story, but you realize through the rest of the book that it's not because she's cold, it's because every time she attaches herself to somebody, she loses them. I got really attached to Kada. I thought his story in the first part was fantastic, and it set the tone for the whole book. And it's actually a quick read when you're jumping through these sections that deal with each character. There are a lot of characters that get covered, and you really fall in love with each character. And what Nia does the time warp thing, Simon Jimenez calls the fold. And he does that through the whole book, where he doesn't actually describe the technology. He'll just use a word like the fold. And you get this idea of what it means. They're folding in and out of time as they're traveling from planet to planet.
Even the spaceship description, there were a couple of specifics, and it was described differently with use of canvas in some ways too, but you don't really get a clear picture of what the ship looks like. And I think that in the scope of the book, it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is the people and the relationship to time. And I did like that he had so many characters, because it showed different aspects of this universe that they're inhabiting. Because these people that you're reading about are descendants from old Earth, which is now perished due to environmental concerns. And birds play a bigger role than I expected. I mean, it is in the title, but you don't really read about them in the summary or get a sense of what they're going to, what purpose they're going to have. But they really demonstrate how Earth is crumbling and collapsing, and how humanity had to take to the stars and find a new life in space. And that comes with all of these problems. And it's a universe that's really ruled by corporations. And we've seen this before in The Light Brigade by Cameron Hurley. Corporations played a big role in dominating how people live their lives, who has access to what benefits. And you get such a big feeling reading this novel, because it talks about these masses of people who are maybe adrift on a generation ship and come up with their own unique culture and ways of living and are maybe never even discovered again, or these masses of people that live on a space station, but they're way down at the bottom of the ladder, and they live among the filth and the trash and, decaying bodies, and they're never going to be the ones who are, living among the stars as like, these gods and goddesses who can just travel wherever they want. And, it really is, I think, emotional reading this book, because of so many real legitimate environmental concerns we have about our own world, that you see how it could play out, and how this group of people had to come up with their own solution to survive.
Yeah, it's not even just the environmental factors. He really looks at these lives of the characters through the scope. Like, if you were to back up and look at their entire lives, you see sometimes what a tragedy life can deal people. And it was sad, I thought, a lot of the book, but it was also inspiring and rather hopeful. He uses colonialism and science inventions that are made also in the context of these corporations, ownership and who owns what, and who's going to claim what kind of resources on what planet. He touches on so many things. There are so many themes in this book.
Yeah, I was impressed for a debut book, and I think more impressed than I expected to be. So I would say we both do recommend checking this book out, and I would consider reading another book by Simon Jimenez. It was that engaging and that different, and also readable at the same time. Sometimes when you get into books that take this long view, I mean, you're covering thousands of years at a time, it can be hard to keep up. And he changes perspectives even within the same page, and usually that's a big no-no in writing, because it gets confusing who is actually doing what. But he did it in very clear ways where you got a good comprehensive sense of the scene, what everybody was feeling, and how they are using certain things to figure out what they want to do in situations. He also had a lot of unique characters. There was one character, Fumiko, and I won't say who she is because I don't want to give anything away, but she was designed. She was a designer baby, but not in the sense of like, you're going to make this, wow, fabulous, stunning, like perfect model-esque baby. She was designed from a different angle to be ugly, to be imperfect. And she was forced to focus on developing her mental capacities by her mother. And she comes to be this, sometimes she's a hero, sometimes she's an anti-hero, sometimes she's just a plain villain. And I really liked that you got to see so many different things about her journey. And I was a little bit worried at the end of her story, but
she keeps you guessing.
Yeah.
You're never really sure which direction she's going to go.
Yeah, and you do care about these characters, and I think that's the biggest thing that keeps you going.
Yeah. His prose was unbelievable. He had some really gorgeous passages. I just wrote a blog post about exposition, which it bothers me when people say that you're not allowed to have exposition in your books because it bogs down the reading, as they say, that you should have all dialogue, all action, all show, don't tell related to the story. And his book was almost entirely exposition, and I loved it because it was so beautiful. There's so much that you can get through exposition that you can't get through the other forms. And I heard some people say online, some of the reviews say that they didn't feel like the book was fully realized. And I kind of understand why they would say that. He's got so many different things in here that he doesn't fully explore some of them, but he's only got 400 pages, maybe 600 if he wanted to stretch it. But
yeah, and I think it would have been stretching it to draw it out. And yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, it has a literary space opera feel, and so there's some unusual things, but there's enough that is, contemporary writing that you are able to follow along easily. So it's a job well done.
Yeah, very much.
Nicole mentioned one of her blog posts. You can find that at conquerbooks.com. Also follow us on Instagram. You'll get the very latest science fiction and fantasy books as they come out. So if you're looking for new stuff to read, it's the perfect source to get all of the new books all in one place.
Regardless of publisher. Sometimes when you follow somebody, they only give out certain publishers' books.
Yeah, Nicole has been organizing it, and she has a great eye for books, and she wants to get all of them out to you as quick as she can. We're also on Facebook under Conquer Books as well. We have a platform where we post daily, and a real community of people who, talk with each other about books, give book recommendations, and commiserate over the long time between books within a series coming out, all that kind of good stuff. And we also will be doing another book next month, right?
Yeah.
Nicole?
Our February read is Daughter from the Dark by Sergei and Marina Dyachenko. They are Ukraine writers. They did this one right here, which was very well received. It is supposedly a Harry Potter on steroids with a touch of metaphysics. But this new book, Daughter from the Dark, is about I don't know if he's a DJ or if he's just called DJ Aspirin.
Yeah.
But he's finds a little girl in his apartment, a 10-year-old girl who refuses to leave and claims she's some kind of musical prodigy. And she has a teddy bear which might turn into a monster. Interesting story. And then when she begins to play music, which will apparently allow her to leave his apartment because he really wants her to go, strange things start to happen. So I think it could be cool.
We're there for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Strange synopsis. We're showing up for that.
Yeah.
So be sure to check it out. It comes out in early February, and so we'll have a video review in early February as well. But thanks for following along. Bye.